resistance. We will never give up the fight for Scotland's freedom. Never! Today, we're here to remember William the Lion. William the Lion was crowned King of Scots on Christmas Eve, 1165. William the Lion is responsible for the design of the Lion Rampant flag. He carried it in battle against those that tried to invade Scotland. William the Lion was so called because of his courage in battle. He founded a Bath Abbey. The north of England and Northumbria was once part of Scotland. William the Lion tried to reclaim the land in Northumbria to incorporate it into Scotland. He was wounded in battle. His horse was speared and he was captured and taken to London, where he was held prisoner of Henry II of England. 5 months later, Henry II of England died, and Richard the Lionheart took over as King of England. Richard the Lionheart wanted to go to the Crusades, but England didn't have the money to do so. So who do you think paid for the Crusades? Scotland. They released our king, William the Lion, on the condition that Scotland paid for Richard the Lionheart to go in the Crusades. A treaty was drawn up that both Scotland and England would be equal sovereign states, which they should be today. Don't forget the courage of William the Lion. He reigned in Scotland for 50 years. He was one of Scotland's greatest kings. Yet, the people of Scotland are unaware of this man. Never forget what he did for Scotland. Thank you very much. I'm now going to introduce you to our first speaker, Sean Clarkin. Sean. I'm here today to speak about the following. Austerity is the policy of the Tory government from Westminster, which is oppressing Scotland today. Today, we have the work capability assessment, which is killing hundreds of our fellow countrymen and women up and down the land. Eleanor Tartan was a woman of 38 years of age, a mother of 2, who died of a brain tumour, who was past fit to work by the Department of Works and Pensions and ATOS. In addition, Philip Malloy was a young man in his early 20s who walked to the River Clyde last February and committed suicide because he was sanctioned. He had no money to live on. Over 900,000 people in Britain today over the last year have been sanctioned, have had their money cut off from 3 weeks to 3 years and have had nothing to live on. We have tens of thousands of unemployed working for companies up and down the land on the work programme, working for nothing. They are slave labour. We also have millions of our people working in call centres and working in offices for the national minimum wage, who are slave labour, who are working for next to nothing, while companies are making billions. The fact is that today, the richest 10% in the Union of Britain have £5 trillion of assets. The bottom 10% 170,000 Scots living in relative poverty. We have more food bags than we've ever had before. A 54% rise in food bags over the last year. And that's the poverty of the union. It's what the Goat Britain PLC is happening to us today, impoverishing the Scots further and further. Whatever happened to the vow? The vows that we were promised. What we got was crumbs off the Westminster table. The so-called powers that we're getting for the Scottish Parliament are nothing. The only way they were ever going to get rid of social injustice and social and political inequality and economic inequality is for Scotland to be an independent nation. In addition to that, we must have this independence in the near future. We must go for the second referendum in 2017 for Scotland to be a free nation next year. As we all know will happen, the SNP will get a majority in the Scottish Parliament. That is a double mandate for independence, having taken 56 out of 59 seats in Westminster earlier this year. We have no option but to go for independence in 2017. Let us free Scotland. Let us become free, as Martin Luther King once said. Free at last! Free at last! That's what we need for Scotland. What we will have if we have an independent Scotland is we will get rid of inequality. We will tax the rich. We will tax the big companies. We will get rid of tax avoidance and tax evasion. We will have a decent, civilized society in which to live in. We will have our people having jobs. We will have the poor, the sick, and the disabled no longer living in fear, no longer living in indignity, but living in peace and in equality, and having the dignity of knowing that they will have money to live on and not worrying where the next meal is going to come from. That is the Scotland I want to live in. That is the Scotland I love. I want us to be free. Let us be free. And to pass on to the next speaker.
Well, the next speaker is going to be Gwen Sinclair. I'm going to ask her up in a few minutes, but I want to say a few more words about William the Lion, who, as I say, was crowned King of Scots on Christmas Eve, 1165. He reigned for 50 years. He founded Arbroath Abbey. Now, at Arbroath in 1320, 6 years after the Battle of Bannockburn, we made a declaration, the Declaration of Arbroath. And the words of the Declaration of Arbroath are as follows. So long as 100 Scots remain alive, we will never subject ourselves to the dominion of the English. It is not for glory, it is not for riches, neither is it honour, but it is liberty alone that we fight and contend, for which no honest man will lose but with his life. The next speaker is Gwen Sinclair.
Thank you, James. Can everybody hear me okay? It's not just started, so that's okay. Fescir Mahu Ladunya, good afternoon everybody. And we're out today to have a rally, and basically what we're hoping to achieve is that people stop and think about what's going to actually go on in Scotland. We need independence, it's as simple as that. Less than 30 miles from here, there's an arsenal of 180 nuclear weapons, which we know we live right on the blast zone of, and should anything happen, and don't think it won't, because it could any day. We live in total denial. We don't realise that in actual fact we're living with that absolutely horrible danger that's been left over from a Cold War that ended a very long time ago. And as early as spring next year, the Westminster government are planning to renew the Trident nuclear weapons system. Last year we thought the cost was $100 billion they were going to spend on it, even though they were voting for austerity. And it turns out that it's not $100 billion, and it's not even $167 billion. It's now going to be over £175 billion they're going to be spending of our taxes to replace a nuclear weapons system which will stay in the Clyde, which is less than 30 miles from the spot we're standing today, for the next 50 years. This is not a legacy that I want to have for my family, and I don't want this legacy for anybody here's family to live with. We need to stand against this. We need to stop it happening. And as early as spring next year, as I say, they're going to be planning to renew this and to vote on Trident. At the moment, there actually is 57 of our MPs out of the 59 who are going to vote against it. But as we know, that will have absolutely no sway whatsoever in the government in the UK, because they are going to be voting for it. And at the moment, we know there's not going to be enough MPs who are going to be able to do that. So we're actually looking at it happening. So what we really need to do is actually stand up now and say absolutely no chance. Not while there's austerity. People are starving and people are sitting cold in their houses in Scotland. We could be a very wealthy nation, but the money has been spent on things we don't agree with. We elected those MPs and they're standing for us. So they should have a say, but they're not having a say because we're still connected to a union which does not serve us properly. I believe we should be an independent nation, and I think we should work very, very hard and give ourselves a gift this Christmas, the gift of determination that we're going to do this. We're going to stand together, and we're not going to allow this situation to change. Going back down, sitting in Westminster, waiting for this to happen. We need to stand together. We need to stop all fighting and arguing between parties and people who are upset with things they read on Facebook. Because it's not about that. It's about real, true poverty that's happening in Scotland. So I hope you take that gift of determination. Thank you very much. Vescar Ma.
Thank you very much, Gwen. That was very good. I'm going to tell you a wee bit more now about William the Lion. As I say, this was the king that brought in the Lion Rampant flag. He reigned in Scotland for 50 years. Founded Arbroath Abbey. He died in December of 1214. But exactly 100 years after that, 100 years after William the Lion died in 1214, was the year 1314. And that is a very historic date for Scots. That was the year of the Battle of Bannockburn. And Robert the Bruce carried in battle the Lion Rampant as he defended Scotland against the invaders. Never forget people like Robert the Bruce, William the Lion. They fought with courage to keep this country free. We will rise again and win freedom for Scotland. Now, in 1932, Randy Wood, the leader of the Scottish Patriots, went up to Stirling Castle and removed the Union flag and replaced it with the large Lion Rampant. It's time we did it again. Follow us, get a Lion Rampant, remove these rags that fly over our cities. Stand up for Scotland. Join the Scottish resistance. One other thing I would like to say before we end it today is that Gwen hit the nail on the head. Only 30 miles from here, we have weapons of mass destruction. The Trident missile system. The fact is, we're going to be spending £177 billion renewing that Trident system. Now the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn. That's it, Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy the traitor Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn professed to be against
Trident. What did he do? He goes into Parliament and he abstained on the vote. He voted, he abstained in the vote, said voting against the renewal of Trident. And then when it came to the bombing of Syria a few weeks ago, what did he do? He allowed his MPs a free vote. There should have been a three-line whip, and there should have stopped a vote taking place. Jeremy Corbyn is a traitor to the peace movement. He should resign as vice chair of CND, and that's what he should do. He should resign as the vice chair of CND, and that's what he should be doing, because he is a traitor. The Labour Party are traitors to the working class, and that is clear. They have betrayed the working class, and that's why the working class in Scotland have abandoned the Labour Party, and that's why we need independence for Scotland, and we need it for a second referendum in 2017. Thanks for that, Sean. Anybody else wanting to speak? We have an open mic. We allow everybody to speak. We're just going to finish up shortly. I want you to think very seriously about Scotland's future. As we speak, there's water being pumped over the border. There's electricity being pumped over the border. They have taken trillions in oil revenue. All these Arab countries are rich, yet we working up on the food banks, where people are working and paying land for no wages. Stand up on Scotland. Claim your right. You are due. Some of